Oh, they tell me of a home far beyond the skies. Oh, they tell me of a home far away. Oh, they tell me of a home where no storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an unclouded day. Oh, they tell me of an unclouded day. Oh, they tell me of a home where my friends have gone. Oh, they tell me of that land far away, where the tree of life into eternal bloom sheds its fragrance from an unclouded day. Oh, the land of cloudless days. Oh, the land of an unclouded day. Oh, they tell me of a home where no storm clouds rise. Oh, they tell me of an unclouded day.
Now time to introduce today's speaker. I don't think you've spoken here before, have you?
Yes.
In the other room, not in the church. I've known Reverend Robert Johnstone for quite a number of years, and our first introduction wasn't that pleasant. We had some differences, but we managed to work them out. We've been fairly good friends for the last few years, about 4 or 5 years, 6 years, I guess. I've come to know that Bob has, as I call him, he comes down from Canada a couple of times a year, and we have breakfast every Saturday morning, me and him and a few other people, and we're always getting on him about being a Canadian, you know. It's kind of like a joke, you know, why spy on Canada? You know, we talk about an American spying on Canada, and the response is why. But Bob has always endeavored to be of service to people. He travels all around wherever he's at, doing spiritual work. He has a unique style of mediumship that he works with colors and working with an intuitive sense of representation. I guess it's similar to the way that Tarot works. Spiritual inspiration, producing, drawing that he interprets. He's also doing a creative awakening seminar here, which is always very well attended, very informative. So I'll announce that later on. Bob's always been a good friend. He's always been very well intentioned, but sometimes misperceived. So that's what Bob's using his own perception.
This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Thank you, Steve. You're a true example of what I say of being a good friend. And really, this man has done so much for me to help me in circumstances that there was nobody there. But he stood up and he could do it, and I appreciate that. So this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And what I try to do is present me. I don't have any fancy stuff to show you this morning. I'm going to talk about me, how I became me. A very difficult struggle, and this little light of mine came about because my grandson, who passed away 3 years ago with autism, he was overdiagnosed and overprescribed. He was given adult medication. And that's the last song. He never sang a song before, but the last song he learned to sing was This Little Light of Mine. And next thing you know, I see it on the TV, and they're selling toilet paper singing it. You got a little guy going around with a roll of toilet paper. But to me, it's a very important thing, because each of us are very special to the Creator. Each of us. Even though we feel our differences, some people are very different to other people. It means, I got this on because I certainly want to be recorded.
Am I supposed to be recording this?
I feel we all should be aware of truly how we serve the light. And I like to remind people when I'm doing readings for them that a very important person in my life was Carol Burnett, when she came out at the end of her show, dressed up as a maid with a mop. And I feel that this is all of us trying to get into that spotlight. And there's always that challenge. There's somebody come in, we get very close, and we have to move away because something's happened. Something's happened in your family. Some material things happen. But we have to keep moving to that light and to our light. And your colors are very important for that, which I'll go into after, as to how you can connect with that light and how you show these colors to others. I'd like to read an Indian prayer. I probably read it here last time. It's a repeat performance. You invited me back, so thank you. And I'd like to thank the board of directors and Steve for having me. And Maddie as well for putting up with me all these years. All you guys have just been great. It's an Indian prayer, and I think it was a Cherokee prayer. O Great Spirit, whose voice I hear in the wind, and whose breath gives life to all the world, hear my prayer. Let me walk in beauty through all my days. May my eyes see sunrise, freshness, and sunset glory. Make my hands respect the things you have made, and my ears sharp to hear your many voices. I am small and weak. I need your strength and wisdom. Make me wise that I may learn the lessons. You teach my people the lessons you have hidden in every leaf and rock. I seek strength, not to be superior to my brother, but to fight my greatest enemy, myself. O Great Spirit, hear me, make me ready. So when my life fades to the last sunset, my spirit will come to you without shame. And that's so much like I want to be. And I try to wait for that. And every time I read it out, I just feel a part of me is there. While I was reading that, I thought of what I asked my daughter every time, my oldest daughter, who's my favorite, I always ask her, do you see any change, darling, in me? She'd say, no, you're the same as ever. And I said, look, I've been trying this stuff for 30 years. You don't see any change? And I guess she sees what she wants to see, as we all do. But I know the change must be inside, and we must feel that inside. Steve mentioned our differences, and that taught me to overcome many other instances in my life, and correcting those differences, because we have that in all people, and see it in all people. And then being different. Isn't a computer great? I have a reading here by John Firelane there, which is also very, I connected with the native path last time, if you remember, and we spoke about it. I just love the old native ways. I've been reading books on the chiefs and how they behaved and what their stories were. But this is by John Lame Deer, native Indian chief. Before our white brothers arrived to make us civilized men, and I'm thinking of the politics here, the Republicans and the Democrats, and I see this. Before our white brothers arrived to make us civilized men, we didn't have any kind of prison. Because of this, we had no delinquents. Without a prison, there can be no delinquents. We had no locks nor keys, and therefore among us there were no thieves. When someone was so poor that he couldn't afford a horse, a tent, or a blanket, he would in that case receive it all as a gift. We were too uncivilized to give great importance to private property. We didn't know any kind of money, and consequently, the value of human being was not determined by his wealth. We had no written laws laid down, no lawyers, no politicians. Therefore, we were not able to cheat and swindle one another. We were really in bad shape before the white man arrived, and I don't know how to explain how we were able to manage without these fundamental things that they tell us are so necessary for a civilized society. And when you hear these politicians talking and what they're going to do, it's certainly a mess that we've made as a society. It's no different in Canada, believe me. We have all that same stuff going on. So, and that's our native people. This was done, another thing off the computer, but it really impressed me, and it's about children. An anthropologist proposed a game to children of an African tribe. He put a basket of fruit near a tree and told the kids that the first one to reach the fruit would win them all. When he told them to run, they all took each other's hands and ran together, then sat together enjoying the fruits. When asked why they ran like that, as one could have taken all the fruit for oneself, they said, "You butter. How can one of us be happy if all the others are sad?" Mbada is a philosophy of African tribes that could be summed up as I am because we are. Again from savages. Again from uncivilized savages. That's young children. I'd just like to pass this around, and maybe after, Steve, would you like to just maybe, I've made 4 copies, so you can put one at the back and one at the front. And to see what you see, how many faces you see in the picture. Yeah, one at the back. And see. I told you, this is my life, as complicated as what I've been reading here this morning. All this stuff is me. So it's what I like and what I do and who I am. I spoke about my grandson who passed into spirit 3 years ago. At that same year, my other daughter had a son who developed leukemia. And unfortunately, he survived. And that's 5 years ago. I think it was 5 years ago, yes. But he's wonderful today, and I hope to bring him someday to serve here along with me. He's only 11 years old, but if I ask him to say a prayer, he'd say a prayer to blow your mind, just from spirit, and not memorized or anything. But on the 5th anniversary of his transplant operation, my granddaughter wrote the following letter and sent it out on the computer. Now, she is not very friendly. She's a very shy type and very inward. She doesn't share too much feeling. So I was really amazed when I saw this come through, and I thought I would share it with you, just to show you how children can be and how we have that inside of us if we want to light our lives. On this day 5 years ago, I was just out of surgery. It was a good surgery, though, because if not, I would no longer have a little brother. 8 months before my surgery, my brother was hospitalized with a blood cancer called leukemia. He was in a boxed-in room with his only way of having to contact people other than doctors, nurses, or my parents and grandparents was through a little speaker. Tyler's only hope of survival was for me to go through a bone marrow surgery. She was 9 at the time, which is a type of blood in your bones. So I had 180 needles in the bottom of my back, which was then put into Tyler. He is now my very annoying little brother, but I am lucky to have been able to save him. Isn't that wonderful? I broke into tears when I saw that. I thought, to be appreciated like that. Have I bored everybody? Everybody's sleeping yet? No. Another thing from the meditations, the Elder's Meditation of the Day. No individual or group can block another individual's path or change it against what fits his nature and his purpose. It might be done for a time, but in the end, it won't work out. That's from Rolling Thunder of Cherokee. Every person is born for a purpose. We may know our purpose very early in our lives, or we may take us some time. Very often, we need to experience many things before our purpose is clear to us. Sometimes we pick our goal to please others. Sometimes others pick our goals to make themselves happy. Often this makes us unhappy. We need to pray to the Creator and ask Him what our purpose is. When we live outside our purpose, our path is full of obstacles. When we live inside our purpose, our path is smooth. When we are aligned to our purpose, we are happy and content. Great Spirit whispered to me in terms I can understand what you should have me do, and I will do it. So many of us try to be something that we're not. We don't feel about the work we do. We don't feel about the partner we're with. We don't feel good about the place we're living in. We have all those things. And I believe that we have to move out of them. And it's taken me probably 70 years to really find out where I feel good. And I believe I feel good right here, right now. I feel good in Casadega. I've had all kinds of obstacles facing me to be in Casadega. Most of you are aware of those things. What goes on with just not me. But it's a testing of our qualities. And, you know, that is a place that I can learn. That is a place that I meet people such as you folks. Is in a place like that. And so when you struggle for the obstacles and Spirit speaks to you, then you can set your foot down and work it out. This is probably the best time I've ever had in Casadega since I got back in October. And the energies there has just been phenomenal. My relationship with Steve and Manny has changed. I can start fighting, and then I can move out of the political discussion. I couldn't do that before. You know, I let them go at it, and then I can just go and hide. And as a neutral source, it's a good way to be. I didn't understand those things before. I used to get involved. I used to try to be better than them. I know I'm better than them, so I don't have to prove it to them. Although they get up and they say these things about me, but I know it's true. But please, I see everybody has a different color. Everybody has a different light. We're not the same. And don't believe anybody who tells you you're the same. We're all different. We're all unique. As long as we have those energies working with us, those chakras working with us, that's what people are guided to. You don't have to see that light. It's there. A lot of us do see that light. But a lot of people feel they should see that light. It's not necessary. It's to feel, to have that feeling, that emotional feeling. I've tried to impress upon you that some of the things that I've learned from, and I certainly learned from each of the Native people, and how they react to what's going on. On the reservations today, those people are still suffering, but yet they still come forward and give to the white man. They still support a lot of the white man's things. There's no greed in the true spirit. And with that, I'd like to thank you very much for hearing me this morning. I hope I've left a little bit of God's light with you. I'm going to pass this piece of tape here around. I'd just like you to write your names around the outside so we'll have it. And when I do the readings, I'll have that with you.